And welcome back to NATChat. I'm Mirella Rich. If you've just joined us, we're here with Raphael Bender, who is a personal trainer. Welcome back to the program, Raphael.
Thanks a lot.
Can you tell us, with strength, how's the best way to build muscle strength in your body if you've got weak muscles?
Well, it's different to the way to build muscle size. So, for instance, to increase your strength in a particular task, like be able to lift a particular weight or do a push-up or whatever it be, the best way to do it is to exercise only to the point of very light fatigue. Right? So do with emphasis on perfect technique. Like, 'cause strength is a skill, right? Because you're probably aware that there might be, for instance, like boxers. Some boxers can hit harder than other boxers, even though they're not bigger. Some weightlifters can lift more than other weightlifters, even though they're not bigger. Because there's a skill involved. Recruiting the right muscle fibres and more muscle fibres in the right sequence, the right proportion, is a skill. And so the more you practice it, the better you get. And if you exercise till you puke and then rest for 7 days, that's only like 1 session a week of practice. Whereas if you exercise a little bit every day, the skill gets better. So you won't get as big muscles, but you'll actually be stronger.
Okay. Yeah. And do you find there's more men or women that go to personal trainers, or it's the same?
I find I've probably got like 2/3 female clients. I'm not sure why that is, but my theory is that blokes have got more of an I'll do it myself sort of attitude.
Yeah. And what about your own personal routine? What does that involve?
I do about between 20 and 45 minutes of strength training every day, and I'm usually doing mostly bodyweight stuff. So I'm right into sort of one-handed push-ups and one-legged squats and different types of variations there. And I basically ride my bike everywhere.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And how much should people train a day if they want to be super fit and really healthy?
Super fit is not always the same as really healthy. So, for instance, if you were training to be a professional athlete, you would be super fit and probably not that healthy, because all your body's resources would be used to become fitter, right? And so that kind of takes energy away from your immune system and reproductive health and different things. So you would be training like 6 or 7 hours a day if you're a professional athlete, and you would find that you get colds very easily, and you'd be sleeping a lot, and
sleeping a lot.
Professional athletes would sleep like 10 or 11 hours a day.
11 hours a day.
Whereas if your goal was to be, very fit and also very healthy, probably an hour and a half a day, and that would be a bit of strength training, a bit of cardio work, perhaps a bit of stretching, a bit of incidental things like, going for a walk or doing some housework or whatever.
And say, for example, like professional athletes and people in the Olympics as well, they would train, how many hours did you say? 7 hours a day?
Yeah, 6, 7 hours a day.
And is it all varied, that kind of training, or is it like, say if they're a walker, someone who does it really fast walking, what's their training schedule?
Well, I'm not sure if I mentioned before the concept of specificity in exercise physiology, where exactly how you practice is exactly how you perform. Right? So the best
off camera, you haven't mentioned it on camera.
The best way to get better at walking is to walk. Right? It's not to go to the gym. Right, the best way to get be a faster swimmer is to swim, not go to the gym or run or whatever. So athletes will tend to spend the majority of their time doing the sport, right? And they might, for instance, walk dragging a weight behind them, or they might walk up hills or down hills or different things, but they won't necessarily spend a lot of time doing weights or different things. And so they might spend a lot of time doing that, but only a little bit of that time, maybe an hour a day, would be heavy work, and the rest of it would be technique and speed training and practicing their starts and their finishes and stuff like that.
And what are some techniques that that you use yourself to motivate yourself to keep going? Like, what sort of tricks do you have for your own self? Everyone's probably got something.
Sure.
Haven't they?
Well, I use a couple of things, and again, like I said before, I like to cheat. So the first thing is, I know that it's a lot easier to do it when you set it up so it's easier to do it. Right? So I've got a space in my house, right, where there's my weights and stuff sitting there, or I don't have to clear anything out of the way. It's not fold under the bed or anything. It's just there ready to go. If I walk past and feel like lifting a weight, I'll lift it. Right? I've set myself up a routine that I always do it at a certain time of day. So that's the time of day I always do it, and you just get into a habit.
And your body clock knows this is the time for
to exercise now. So, and plus I deliberately live a particular distance from where I work, which is just a good bike ride away. So I ride my bike, to work all the time, and so I just set it up so that it's easier, basically.
And so do you ever drive a car, or you actually ride and run everywhere?
Well, I drive a car when I go with my wife and my daughter, and
Yeah.
I can't carry them on my back.
You can get one of those long bikes. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, so you've got this whole attitude of health and fitness. But you also had it before you became a personal trainer, because you were into Kung Fu, and then you were like a bouncer at the I'm about to say at the gyms, nightclubs.
Don't need bouncers at gyms.
No. And now, reflecting on your life, how would you describe your choices of becoming a personal trainer versus the other past jobs you've had?
Well, I don't know if it's versus. I think it's been an evolution for me, and I'm really glad the path that I've taken. And if I hadn't had those previous experiences, maybe I wouldn't get as much out of what I'm doing.
Yeah, and it wouldn't have maybe led you to there, because we all need to go in some direction to get us. But you find the most satisfaction now in being a personal trainer than?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I do full time, and I love it.
And do you find it exhausting training people at all? Like if they're very heavy with all their problems, does that affect you, or are you able to distance yourself from that?
What I've found is that it's definitely a skill that's important to have as a trainer, or someone that sees people one-on-one, is being able to keep that kind of separateness, from people's other life. But the other thing is that when people come to a training session, they need to be able to separate from their other life.
Yes. Yes.
So I know a lot of a lot of my colleagues are often kind of moaning about how people are always telling them their problems and stuff like that. I just don't let people do that, because they need to focus on what they're doing in the session. If they're telling you about what they did with their friend last night, then they can't be working very hard in the session, can they? So I'll always ask my clients, how are you at the start of the session, because they might have physical things they need to tell me about. And if they start to tell me about work or whatever, I'll say, that's great, and what are we going to focus on in the session today? And I'll always
bring it back.
redirect them, because to me that's part of motivation.
Yeah.
Like,
and you
that's
don't
my
ever
job.
get tempted to get talking to them about whatever's going on? Oh.
Some of my clients have got really, really interesting things to talk about.
Oh, beautiful. We've run out of time. Thanks so much for coming on the program.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
You've been watching NATChat. I'm Mirella Rich, and our guest was Raphael Bender, who's a personal trainer. I hope you enjoyed the program. See you soon.